Hello, my name is Carson Mallett, and this is my presentation for EDU 548, Planning for Instruction. My lesson topic and title is The Importance and Impact of the Civil Rights Movement. So my objectives for this, by the end of this lesson, students should be able to identify at least 5 key events of the Civil Rights Movement and explain their importance. They should be able to describe the roles and contributions of at least 3 figures. They should be able to analyze the cause and effect of at least 2 major pieces of the civil rights legislation. They should be able to compare and contrast strategies and philosophies of at least 2 different civil rights leaders. And they should be able to evaluate the impact of the civil rights movement on American society. So one of the first things I would do is display the photograph called I Am a Man from the Sanction Workers photo strike. And then as the students are coming in, I would have them be thinking about how they feel when they see this picture, what they think it's about, if they know what it is already. And then when everyone's in there and had time to think, they would be given a chance to discuss what they think it is and all of the things. And then I would end up mentioning the previous lessons that we've talked about over Jim Crow laws and the end of slavery, and try to connect it to this current event and explain how this is a huge turning point in the lives of many Americans. So I would like to use a lot of visuals, from pictures to videos, to help give the students a visual, as you will, of the events that they're seeing instead of just reading it from a book. It'll allow them to connect and have an emotional connection to what they're learning about. Another activity I would do is I would set up stations, and about 5 according to the class size, and each station would be focused on an event of the civil rights movement, whatever we're talking about specifically. And each station would need the name, summary, pictures, and a question prompting them on what they should be thinking about, along with a student handout paper where they can write down what they think. So they'll move through the stations, and they will look over all the material, and they will write down what they thought was important. And after that, they will come back together and discuss and see if there was any common factors that everyone thought, or anything that was different that someone figured out. Some assessment, this would be more of a formative than a summative. It would an exit ticket at the end of class. They would have to name 3 key events and explain why one is important. They don't have to explain why all of them is important. That would take probably a long time. Just one, in short. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Now, for some of the students who are already more of an expert on this topic, I could put them kind of together and give them harder questions, or I could put them with some of the students who are struggling and allow them to teach, and that would help the lower and the higher groups. If this doesn't work, then I would change up my learning styles, make sure I have all of them, the visual, auditory, reading, writing, kinesthetic, all of them. So the goal of all of this would be to summarize the key takeaways of the civil rights movement and the significance of it. And if we wanted to do another activity, this would be more of a creative one for some of the more creative people. We would create a news headline where we'd gather up everyone and tell them that they're going to pretend like they're a reporter from the time, and see what their 3 headlines would be, like their 3 most important or key events or things that they think has changed everything.